Oh, well, hello there. My name is Paul. Welcome to England. Well, hello there, YouTubers, scratch builders, and kit bashers. My name is Paul. Welcome to my channel. I have a confession to make. It's been 2.5 years since my last build. It has flown by. It has gone by so quick. Since 2020, time has just accelerated and accelerated. But, you know, I bought a motorbike and started playing golf. I got out of the house a little bit more. I realized that my method for scratch building was chaotic. It was unorganized. After a couple of builds, my desk would be full of detritus and failed attempts and scrap bits of this and that. And I realized I could no longer function. I also became a massive hoarder. So instead of just using recycled stuff, I was going outwards and beyond in order to collect, and I became swamped. But here I am, here and now. This is my most ambitious build to date, but it's very simple. It's unbelievably simple, but the pose in my head, what I tried to achieve, I probably overwhelmed myself a little bit, and I put too much pressure on myself. I realized certain things I'll never be able to produce, especially at this level of using just junk and things that I have available. But at the end, very happy with it. It's quite personal to me. It's a Star Wars theme. But without going too much into it, as usual, give me a like, give me a subscribe. Please watch it all through. That's how this channel works. That's how all channels work. But by all means, stick around to the end there's a little bit of backstory, to the character and what's going on here. But in the meantime, let's go and scratch my junk. Well, folks, let's get into this build. Here's my first piece. Now, this is the waist. It's a vacuum attachment. It had hairs on around here, but I cut them off. And it's kind of the scale that I'm going for. I'm playing around with a few ideas here for the hips and the hips attachments. I finally settled on these nuts. So let's polish my nuts. Tried to use glue here, but it's 2.5 years old and it just wouldn't come out. It's spent. So I got to get a new one. And this is going to be a bit of a shock to you. I think, how did you go from a pair of hips to a primed torso and spine? Well, I had a bit of a problem off camera and didn't realize the memory card was full on my old phone. The torso there is an old super glue spray bottle. I'm just clearing out some of the junk here so I can make space for the leg. Now I'm experimenting at this point with the shoulder joints. These are bearings that I've used on previous builds and some tiny magnets. At this point, I'm actually already starting to realize the weight in this probably isn't going to sustain itself, especially for the ideas that I have. What I was actually trying to do was make it so the arms would move forward, because it was supposed to be, the whole thing was going to be a falling pose and the arms would be reaching forward with two guns. But it was a bit of an ambitious build for 2.5 years. For a 2.5 year break. Now I'm working onto the head. Now this is the king piece. This is what it's all based on. I had this, I thought, right, that's a face for something. So this set the scale. I put that thing on the back of its head, which is a nasal spray top. And I'm starting to make me think that this might be a female character. So this is me making the neck, but I'm using the same parts that I made the spine with, and then at this point I realized it needs to be slightly smaller. So I found some smaller beads. All was kind of going well, but after I get to this point, I try to drill holes in the sides to get beads in to attach the arms, and it shattered. So then I had to build something else. So for the next 2 hours, look at the mess on my desk. I had to come up with something new, and I didn't record it, so here we are. It's another kind of yogurt bottle with two huge sensor arrays on the front. It's definitely starting to look like a female now. On the back there's the capacitor off the camera, the same camera that I've used. These pieces on the spine are from cable, they attach cables to walls. So I've just glued two together. This is the lens carrier from the camera. That's the bit that would turn and put the lens in and out. I figured it would look good as a necklace. I was going to give her a pearl necklace, but after polishing me nuts earlier, I had nothing left. Now this is a gun. This is also just one of those unique freak pieces that it's the perfect scale, and it's used off a what is it? It was a laptop drive. You press that in, and that would attach to the rest of the drive, and it would kick the drive out. So that was a great find. I've only got one of them, so it was unique. Another battery, just fill that space out on the back a bit. Something to know about batteries. If you're going to use batteries in any of your builds, I've used them in quite a few. When they get old, they swell up and they can explode. So I'm still making it up at this point, no real plans. I've just drew my finger across that sensor at the front, and what you won't see on camera is that I had filled it all in previously with polyfiller, and it didn't work. And it went all over the place. So I had to scrape all that off. So this video eventually took me about 5 days to make, and I don't mean I made it over 5 days. It took 5 days to make. That's every day, playing, breaking it down, playing with it, breaking it back down, trying different ideas and eventually settling. So here I am trying to make a rail. I found a nice little piece to make I think it's a Picatinny rail. I think it's aluminium or something. I'm trying to glue to the gun body, but it didn't have good adhesion. So this took quite a bit to get to set. Lining it up, happy, precise. Yep, looks good. There's just one problem. I put it on upside down. It's on the bottom. There we are. I was going to make a cassette ammo feed, a double cassette ammo feed, but I couldn't work it in. Stainless steel straw. Hacksaw wasn't doing it, so I had to get the tool out. This is like the silencer. Well, it was going to be a silencer. I suppose it is a silencer. It's just a muzzle end. These are two short pipes, one that fits inside the other just to extend it a little, create a little bit more length. And there we have it. That's glued on with two small magnets again. Attached some details to the outside, and I've put a handle on off camera as well as I was fiddling. Tried to create some texture for fingers, and eventually settled on this with silicon O-rings. Now these I've used throughout the build. These are shrink wraps. They're for protecting cables. You put them over cables or wires, and then you apply some heat and it shrinks and wraps around. Work very well in this instance. I've used them on the arms, but I haven't recorded it. So every gun's going to need a hand to hold it. So here we go with a gun. With a hand. Lay it down on my cutting mat here and just dump some hot glue. So I'd already made one. I didn't know how I was going to make it. This is the second one off camera. A handy tip: if you're going to make two, you have to make two. Something you've never done it before. Make one off camera. Make the second one as you've perfected it. And I wouldn't say this was perfected, but the method certainly worked. Trim the nails. These are more heat shrink. This will keep everything in place. And then I got to a point. I got to a point where I was a bit exhausted, a bit burned out, and didn't know where I was going, struggling for parts and greeblies. And I just thought, you know what, maybe it's been 2.5 years. Maybe I could just leave it like this. It's been in a battle. You know, it's only got one arm. Foot's been blown off. It's only got one leg. And then I created a little backstory for why it was lying there on its last legs. The gun's empty, and it's just looking up. This whatever's standing over it, and it's about to go. It's about to perish. But then I thought, no, I think it deserves something a bit better. So now I've got to get it off the floor, make it stand. So these are the feet. What I'm using here are all the tops of the whiskey cartons. You know, you get a bottle of whiskey in a cardboard tube. I'm going to fill this with hot glue, add some weight, and then attach the feet. And I'm making this up as I go along. I don't know how the weight's going to take it. It's going to take the weight at this point. So off camera, you'll see later on, I put a lot of super glue and baking powder on here just to really cement them in there. And here I am attaching the ankles in with what I've called is organic ligament compound. Yeah, right, it's hot glue. And there she goes. Lucky save. So now I've got to kind of hold it in place until the hot glue goes off. When it does go off, I'll add some more. Because I'm happy with where the legs are, I'm starting to secure the hips into place so they won't move. As it cools down, I'm starting to see light at the end of the tunnel. The hair at the end there is obviously some kind of, you know, I call it an earthen strap. It's some speaker wire. I've fanned it all out. It's definitely a female. It took me quite a while here just to augment the fingers into place. But then I thought, I'm not finished. I need to just dress those shoulders a bit more. You can see there in the foreground, a little bit of a giveaway. There's a stormtrooper's helmet. So I figured the sensors on the front, the two sensors on the front, were pretty crude, pretty round, pretty, you know, pretty out there. So I thought I would encase them, make it look less, what's the word? Less, I don't know, less obvious, less juvenile. I've been watching a lot of House, seen a lot of operations on the TV lately, so this position I felt quite comfortable in. Needed a delicate hand, sensitive touch. And see how she feels. Well, she feels good actually, but let's see how she looks. Yep, yeah, even. Yeah, she's happy with that. So some of the spoons that I cut up there, just adding a little bit of detail to the forearms. And the legs, I might have only done one leg. I can't remember. Been in battle after all. Now here we are kind of trying out a different pose. Fully bent over here and in a crouch position. Quite versatile, so a lot of movement in the spine, a lot of movement in the arms and the shoulders. And the head fully turns, bends. Found this lying around outside in the bin. We just had some parcels from Amazon. I went and got the polystyrene and this was in there as well. And I thought, right, let's just dress it a little. Let's play dress up. I'm starting to wonder whether this is more about me wanting to be a woman than, well, did I just say that out loud? No, I don't want to be a woman. Nothing wrong with women. Love women. Don't want to be one. Maybe I'll edit that out. So here's the hydraulics for the spine, attaching to, what would you call that? Yeah, it's the hips, isn't it? And then I'm kind of there. This is it. 2.5 years in the making. Happy if you're still here. Thanks for turning up. Give me a great like and a subscribe. Hope you've enjoyed this one. And I'll see you in the next one. Oh, I haven't said, make sure you stick to the end for a little backstory. I want a little backstory. This character's called Otero. Droid companion to Princess Leia on Hoth.